What's up, guys? We're here for episode 3 of Optimistic Depression. I'm your host, Devi. Kicking it off this week with obviously more of a quiet week since the start of free agency, but the Jets did make the trade for their quarterbacks. They got Geno Smith, some smaller signings in the building, and it's definitely been a quiet week, but I think it's been a productive week for the Jets. Excited to see kind of the return of Geno Smith. Boys, how are we feeling? How are we feeling about the moves this week and kind of what's to come, after this?
Listen, Geno's home. The prodigal son returns home. It was always Geno. It was never anybody else. This was meant to be. No, but on a serious note, like, he was the best option out there. Who else were we going to get? Kyler wasn't coming here. Kirk wasn't coming here. We were really going to go down the road of like Andy Dalton being our starter. No, Tyrod wasn't going to be our starter. Like, who was it going to be? It was always Geno this year. And if you look, like, he's a competent quarterback. He's good. Like, his situation in Oakland or in Las Vegas was a mess. Chip Kelly was barely even game planning. Pete Carroll and his sons were just sending that organization absolutely right down the shitter. So I don't think that, like, there's a lot of crash out from a lot of fans. I honestly don't understand it. Like, who else are we going to get? I really don't know. So I'm happy to see Geno back. We're going to go 9-8. We're going to squeak into the playoffs. So,
yeah. No, I totally agree, though. Like, people are freaking out about it. And listen, like, is it ideal given, like, how things ended the first time? No. But the options out there, like, they weren't going to roll into the season. They weren't getting into a elite quarterback through the trade market. You're not paying him anything, which is the biggest win right there. If you had to pay him, I can understand the crash out of it. And really all you did was you just swapped six, seven picks. Like, they didn't really do anything other than that. Like, there's no risk. There's absolutely no risk. And honestly, I don't give a fuck if he throws 30 interceptions and 30 touchdowns. Give me a Jameis stat line. I don't care. Like, as long as our offense is running, I think that's a win in itself. Like, it's like we said, it just raises the floor a little bit, and you can kick it down the road to next season. And it's what you need to do with this team right now is build some sort of winning foundation. It's not about who's going to be the quarterback a year from now after that. Like, it's building a winning foundation, because let's say we get a minimum 7 wins. That's a fucking home run. Like, if the Jets can squeak out 7 wins this year with this team, I think that's a huge home run. Like, what you want to see is some sort of stepping stone. You want to see that Moogie is putting together a roster that can compete. You want to see that Glenn is learning from his mistakes from the previous year, and the coaching changes make sense. And I think this move is the perfect move for that. Is it ideal? Absolutely not. But who else are you going to get, like you said? And he's a guy that I think he's, like, you saw what happened in Seattle. It was like, at my back. That's the same exact mindset. He's going to come back here and he's going to want to change the narrative, which I think is what we want here.
Yeah. I mean, I think big thing with Geno too is, like, you got Garrett Wilson, you got to keep him happy. He's going to get him the ball. Like, he's going to get him the ball downfield. He's not afraid to throw it. Like, he's going to sling it. Like you said, he's going to throw he can throw for 30 interceptions. I don't care. Doesn't matter. As long as he's throwing the ball downfield, keeping our guys happy down there, he can facilitate it, get it out. O-line protects him. Like, if he has a good O-line, he had a terrible O-line in Vegas. Atrocious. So if he has a good O-line here, we can protect him a little bit. He can get the ball downfield to our guys. Just run a competent offense. Like, I think that's all we need next year.
You got to keep your playmakers happy. Like, at the bare minimum here, he's going to pepper Garrett with targets. He's going to throw the ball around the yard. And that's the only way you can, like I said, keep guys like that happy. Even A.D. Mitchell, even if they draft a receiver in the first round, like, we're going to get to that, obviously. But it's just a way to evaluate the team as a whole. Like, even with the defense was always put in a deficit spot. So, like, what if you come out and you score a couple quick touchdowns and the defense is playing from ahead? Like, it's just a way to evaluate the team as a whole, rather than having 21 yards at halftime, having negative net offensive yards. Like, come on. Like, it's just a way to evaluate the team. And, either way, how this Geno thing goes, I think is good. Like you said, if they win 7 or 8 games, that means we have a competent coach, we have a competent front office, and the team's moving in the right direction. if it completely bottoms out, that means you have a top 3 pick and you're drafting your quarterback anyway.
100%.
And then, like you were saying, how people like to complain about this, like the talking heads on the radio. Why would they go get Geno? Okay, all right, you don't have to like Geno. You don't like no one's saying he's gonna come in and make this a playoff team besides Rizzy, but what's the alternative? There he is. Here's Mr. Happy.
There he is. Mr. Happy. Pippy Happy is here. And
at least Pip comes with an alternative. He doesn't want to do anything. At least he has an answer. These people are like, Geno sucks. Why would you do that? Okay, what's your resolution? What would you do? And they don't have answers for it. So that was always my biggest pet peeve. But I think it was the right move.
I have one stat too. So, it's 3 stats, but it's one tweet. Geno Smith's passing numbers and where it ranks among other QBs the last 4 seasons. 15,251 passing yards, 5th in the NFL. 90 passing TDs, 11th in the NFL. 68.2% completion percentage, 6th in the NFL. When have the Jets had that? Ever? I don't even think that's ever happened in our lifetime. Maybe Fitz for 1 season? Like, sign me up for a guy with that potential and possibility and see what happens. And like you said, we evaluate the offense and hopefully, this coaching staff is good enough to where they can keep their job next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool having a peak of like 9 wins and going off stats that happened 3 years ago. But if we go off last year, it's
actually the last 4 seasons, so it's all 4 seasons.
So if I heard you. But if we go off just last year, the most recent year and what we're going to base it off of, he had a horrific year and was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. So we have a ceiling.
Horrible situation.
Yeah, because our situation's always so much better. We have a ceiling.
Our offensive line, our offense, and our continuity is going to be way better than what Oakland had last year.
We have a ceiling of 9 wins. We have a floor of 4 wins. I'm really excited for this year.
9 wins gets us in, baby.
It doesn't.
That's why I'm fine with it. Because either end of the spectrum, you either showed that you made real big improvements everywhere on the margins, or you're a catastrophe again and you're in the spot that we all kind of want to be at the top of the draft in a good quarterback class.
I just feel like we raised the floor for no reason.
But there is a reason now. Like the reason is like you can't reset again. Like if they end up the season with less than 4 wins, which could happen, it very well could happen. Like it's definitely not unrealistic. We've seen it plenty of times. But if they end the season that way, not only are you firing Glenn, but you're most likely going to be firing Bougie too, because he didn't build a roster. And then it's the new GM in, and you're starting over from it again. And what that's going to do also is a lot of the players that are on this team that may have made some sort of impact. There's no way if this team does not improve that Garrett isn't want to be here next year. Like there's absolutely no way.
I get that.
And like that's like, to me, that's like it's just like you're just starting over and over and over again. And I do see your point. Like I do get where you're coming from. Like nothing matters until you get that quarterback, and it's like, what is Geno Smith going to be doing for us 5 years from now? But I also think it's like if you tank again, like you're just going to be starting everything over again. And like you truly can argue both sides. It's just my preferred method is I want to see just something, like some sort of improvement that is going to be worth watching. I don't want to stop watching the Jets. Realistically, we don't stop watching the Jets, but like being excited to watch the Jets after the second week of the season, like we do every fucking year, because it's just absolutely miserable. And I want to see something built through that. And to be honest, I don't care how it happens. I really don't care how it happens. I just want it to happen. Riz, you said you had a take on this.
Yeah, I mean, Joe and Connor from Badlands touched on it too. Like, we're going to have 4 picks in the top 44. Those are going to be guys that we need to be impact players for the next 5 years, 6 years. You want them coming into an infrastructure that can foster some growth and development. If you have them in here as the best guys on the roster and taking on leadership roles and things of that nature, it would never work, right? They're too young. It would never work. That's why you need to build the roster the way they have so far this free agency. A bunch of veterans, guys that have been around forever, They could teach the young guys how to be true professionals, and hopefully this is the start of a nice foundation where maybe we're not a Super Bowl team in 2-3 years, but we are a playoff team and we're competing regularly and we're not getting walked all over.
And then, like, to go on the picks this year, I mean, with 9 wins this year, say that has a ceiling. Like, that keeps guys happy, keeps Garrett happy, whatever it is. There's still a real possibility with 9 wins this year. We have 3 picks in the top 20 next year. Like, the Colts, the moves the Colts are making in this free agency, like, I don't know. I'm hoping that's a top 5 pick right there next year. And then, then you got to hope for the Packers or the Cowboys. And the Cowboys are, I mean, the Packers are usually pretty good, but the Cowboys, I feel like them having a good year is less common than having a bad year. So looking at it that way, could have 3 picks in the top 20 next year, maybe in the top 15.
Completely agree.
So for me, that's fine. I think a lot of it comes down to what we saw in like the last regime of you could hit the obvious picks all you want, and that could only do so much. It comes down to the later picks in the second day and the third day, where if they don't hit on those, we're going to have no stability going forward. Like, we could get the Jermaine Johnson, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner draft class, and we saw how good they were for us. But at the end of the day, when you just miss on every late pick, like, that's what Muji needs to do right now.
I agree. I think that's also why you need those veterans in here, so that way those day 2, day 3 picks have that space to grow, and they don't need to step into a starting role or a bunch of playing time right away. Like, they can develop properly. So, I mean, who knows? Obviously, yeah, like, we have all these picks. It's great, but we're the Jets and we never make the right one. So hopefully this time around we do.
And you're exactly right. That's something we've always talked about. We talked about it with, like you said, with Douglas all the time. Like, we're excited about Muji. We like the moves on the margins that he's made. His trades are creative. They brought in really important veteran, free agents, or making trades for important veterans that are going to hopefully raise the floor of, and when we say raise the floor, even if this year doesn't matter, what's important is the guys that we're bringing in, like last year's draft class, this year's draft class. Like, that's who this is impacting the most, these veteran moves. But like you said, like, we're excited about Muji, but if he's not hitting on those day 3 picks, the guy's not going to be here. So, like, that's the most important thing. We saw Joe Douglas can hit on the first rounder. Like, Muji just hit big on Membu, but his day 3 was a train wreck. And if he does that again, he's going to be out of a job. So that's something that's not really, I feel like, not talked about as much with the fan base right now, which is very important leading into the draft.
I think too, like, if you look at the recipe for success and kind of what I can expect to be what would work, is like, I feel like what Muji's trying to do is build the same way the Broncos built. Like, you could see that the Broncos did, like you guys said, day 3 picks that have hit in a big way. Nothing too flashy in the free agency market. Bo Nix, honestly, the way I look at it is Ty Simpson could be our Bo Nix in a way. Like, Bo Nix, to me, wasn't a quarterback that we thought, at least in my opinion, I know, Reggie, you might think differently, but I was like, fuck Bo Nix. I still am, like, kind of like, fuck Bo Nix, but Bo Nix is good. He's a good quarterback. He's improved year over year at this point, which is what you want to see from a young quarterback. And, it was something that everybody questioned at the time, is like, yeah, the Broncos are taking Bo Nix. And, it wasn't something that everyone was like, this is going to be a home run thing. And then they made the playoffs, massively improved the year after that again. Much different situation. They have Sean Payton, an established head coach, and an established culture there, and the Broncos have a really good organization as a whole. But I think, like, that's kind of like can be our recipe. And like, obviously, if you draft Ty Simpson this year, he's not going to be starting unless Geno something happens to him or he's just an absolute fucking train wreck. You never know what's going to happen there. But yeah, I think that's kind of like the recipe that they're trying to replicate. And I'm excited to see it. It's definitely, I think it's a different approach than what we've seen in the past.
I just think it's the right approach. It's different because it's correct. It's the right
True.
way to do it. And
Yeah.
and like, going back to those day 3 picks and everything, like, that's just how you backfill the team. Like, right now we're excited because these veterans are going to be starting, and the guys that we draft on the first couple of days are going to be starting. But any good team, you're gonna need to find gems on day 3, and that's kind of where a team like Buffalo is falling short. Like, you have your all-time quarterback, and you had a great roster at the time, but once it comes time to pay all these guys, you gotta be a great drafting team and backfill through the draft, especially on day 3, to fill the holes of guys that you lose in free agency because you can't pay everybody, and that's just what they don't do. So that's just what I hope comes. I hope these veterans can make an impact on the kids that are getting drafted and just continue to backfill through the draft. It's the only way to build it. Like, just what Seattle did. Seattle built that whole team through the draft pretty much. I think that's just the best way to go about it.
I think
With
the other
important veterans too, obviously.
I think the other reason I'm just very out on this team regime is because I think Glenn's an idiot. I just don't think he's the guy. I mean, last year, he's a lot of talk. He talks about all the coaches that he's going to bring in, all the coaches that nobody's looking at, and every single one of them's gone. And then this year, he's saying his superpower is calling plays. If that's his superpower, where was that year 1? Why is he having somebody else call plays for him? If this is something that he's so good at, why wouldn't you put yourself in the best situation possible?
I think
I would disagree.
I know he said, like, he wanted to learn the job, but like, did pretty poorly with it. But
His clock management was horrible. His timeout usage was horrible. Him deciding when to kick and when not to kick was horrible.
it got better towards the end, but it still wasn't.
You're on football
good.
how long?
I was gonna say it's still not good enough to where, like, if you're not calling plays, you got to be really on that, and the fact that you weren't is very concerning.
Yeah, but I think the difference that you can see this year, and I totally agree with you, Pip, and we don't ever really agree often, but like I totally agree with you. I mean, I think he's also a fucking idiot, but I give him a little bit of a longer leash this year, given the staff changes that were made. It's like, all right, you have a veteran now on the staff with you. Frank might not have had that much success anywhere that he's been, maybe in Indy, but like he's still been around the game for a while, and he has had success, and he is, I would say, established. And I'm very curious to see the impact that's made there with the entire coaching staff. And if we still see the same mistakes happening from Glenn, then I don't think he even makes it through the season, to be honest with you. And I think that's kind of part of the reason why they hired the staff that they did, is because they want to kind of have a backup plan. It's like, here's a button we're going to hit. If Glenn sucks, then Frank, you're stepping in as the interim head coach. And then quickly, one more point on this, and then I want to move on to AVT. But something that I'm happy that is at least happening. We saw what Salah said. He was like, "Oh, I feel like I was just a red flag boy. That's all I did, and just call timeouts." Which is like, you're the fucking head coach. Speak up then. Like, if you want to call plays, then call plays. Granted, Ulbrich was a great DC, but if you thought that you could have elevated even more, then put yourself in the best positions to see as a head coach, you probably would have kept your job, to be honest with you. And it would have been a lot more respect in the room from that standpoint. But, that's like the biggest thing with that is like, I'm happy to see him take over there. However, like you said, he says it's his superpower. Statistically, if you look at the stats, he's not that great of a DC. He's a great culture guy. He's great in the locker room, and he can speak up and this and that, but the defenses, statistically, especially in Detroit, I mean, he had close to 50-point shot dominant in the NFC Championship game. Granted, they were a little bit banged up, but stats, I kind of don't lie with that stuff. But let's see. I mean, let's see what we can do more here. I mean, it's got to improve. If it doesn't improve, then unfortunately he's going to be out the door. And that's
why I'm fine with this whole Geno thing, because like the odds are in the favor of that Glenn's horrible, and that Frank Reich will also be horrible, and that Geno will be better than he was last year, but that still lands you, around the top 5 again, which is like, it's not good for what you want to build, but the reality is, it's kind of shown that, this is kind of just the last ditch effort, this coaching staff. And I know there's guys on defense that we like and stuff, but I don't know, the Frank Reich and Glenn thing, again, who knows? But I feel like the writing's almost on the wall already for it. But I don't know. If you could just deliver even if it doesn't come with wins, even if it comes with 4 or 5 wins, and you're just a normal bad team, like we've said, like not just setting every kind of record every week. I mean, think about last year. How many times did a game end and they're like, this 2025 Jets team is the first to do blank? It's unbelievable. Like, just be a normal bad team that stays in games. That's all I ask for.
And people want to shit on Glenn and all that, and yes, the defense was terrible. People forget, statistically, the solid defense his first year was worse than our defense last year. So, and he turned it around, and our defense was incredible after that. So, you have to give people time. I don't believe in just firing a guy after 1 year, or just assuming he's going to be fired after year 2, when he hasn't even had a chance to go and prove anything yet in year 2.
And I do think it's fair to give him the shot. Like, I don't think it's going to work for him. I think he's going to be gone after this year. But, I mean, last year we all were saying, let's see what he looks like when he gets his guys here. So now it's time to deliver. Like, his guys are here. It's year 2. They're going to go through another draft with premium picks. If you're not making it happen, I don't even want to give it leeway like halfway through the year. Like, you know, they talk about the year 2 Lions where they sucked again in the beginning of the year and then they went on that run towards the end. Even that I don't want to see. I don't need to see the 0-4 and then it's like, oh, like let's see if he can win out like Dan Campbell did. Like, I think the writing's going to be on the wall early.
Yeah, but if he does do that, and they are like 8 and 9, and they go on a run at the end of the year, you have to bring him back again, because you saw what happened with the Lions. The next year they went, I don't know, they won the division, or they went 12-5 or something. So I don't know. I think you need to give him the entire year, and that's it. If you want to fire at the end of the year, fine. But
to Matt's point, though, I think what he's saying is if they start the season 0-4, then he's not even making it to week 5. Like they're gonna fire him. Like they're not gonna give him that Dan Campbell let him finish out the year. Like, I don't think they're going to, unless those 4 games are like 1 possession losses, and they're like they're battling, and they're one of those. There's no such thing as a good loss, but it's a moral victory.
Yeah,
we had a few of those last year.
Like if you have a couple of those Bills games that we had last year to start the season. That's unacceptable. You can't even have one of those in the beginning of the year. That's not
Miami game too. Like,
yeah,
you can't have it.
And like,
we'll see.
But to that point, if they do start that way, you might as well just keep them and hope you go 0-17.
That too.
But hopefully we don't end up there. I really hope not.
Realistically, though, if you bring in an interim head coach in the NFL, it's not like other sports where like if you fire your coach or your manager throughout the season, like they end up turning around. Like you see it in the NBA. You see it at MLB. Pips got the Phillies head on. We saw it with Ralph Thompson going to the World Series. Fuck the Phils, but you know it's you can see it in other sports. In the NFL, it doesn't work. Like it does not work. You fire a head coach, you were just punting on the season at that point. You saw it when it happened with Salah, and then you see it with other teams as well. Like you just give up on the season at that point. But but the other thing is too is though like establishing the culture and establishing just like a winning attitude, and you can't really teach players how to win. You just have to win, and then they kind of get addicted to it, and it also helps attract other players. And I know that obviously he was very injury prone year in and year out, but AVT probably stays if there is more winning. You know what I mean? And he doesn't go to New England, your division rival that just went to the Super Bowl. And it is a kick in the fucking nads that he went there. I wish him the absolute worst. And, I don't want to see him succeed at all. But, and like I said, if he ever forgets his name, he can just look at his arms. It says Barrett Tucker there, so he's a fucking moron. You have to establish that, mainly just to keep players around and to attract more players. You're going to reduce the amount of money you're going to spend in free agency. It's going to be a destination that you want to go, and I think that's what it is. The Jets are not a destination right now. Like, Demario Davis is getting clowned on social media right now because he said it was a no-brainer. It wasn't a no-brainer. It probably was retirement or the Jets at the end of the day, and he wants to play football, and he's going to go back to the place that he knows and the people that he knows in order to make that happen. And, that's like the biggest thing with that is, like, you have to establish something so that players come here and, you're not picking in the top 5 every single year.
Yeah, I agree. AVT leaving absolutely sucks. I know he's injury prone, like you said, but I would have loved to keep him. I think his upside is is too good to not. Granted, he did get a lot of money. Maybe, obviously, we weren't willing to pay that, and maybe it was just a money thing where, sure, maybe he didn't want to be with the Jets, but if we paid up, he would have stayed. But yeah, I mean, now that he takes the Jets jersey off, you know he's going to be a Pro Bowler the next 10 years and never get hurt again and be unbelievable, because that's just how it goes. But it sucks to see him go, and going to the Pats. I feel like it was almost like a purposeful slap in the face to the Jets, and that's just how it is right now. And unfortunately, you know, we have to change that narrative, and I think it will. I like the signing of Parham to fill that role. Obviously, he was on the Raiders last year, which is not great, but he was one of the bright spots on it, or the only bright spot on the offensive line, and he was pretty good. He's been pretty good throughout his career. So I think even though maybe his ceiling isn't the highest, he just stabilizes that spot, and we don't have to worry about going into the draft needing to draft an O-lineman. Maybe we do. Hopefully we don't. I don't want to waste top 40 picks on that, but it's just nice to have a stabilizer there that's already filled and taken care of.
Yeah, I thought that one was very important. With Parham, just exactly like you said, you don't want to pigeonhole yourself like we've been doing the past few years. Like, I was someone that wanted the O-line picks with Olu and Membu. I was cool with both because you kind of need that to build out a team. But here we are, you know, we already just sunk 2 first-round picks, and they both look like they're, you know, Membu looks great, but like, you know, we'll see about Olu more. I think he'll be fine. But you don't want to sink pick 16 that you got into a guard because you have to. Like, you want to go BPA kind of at this point, and I know we'll talk about that, but I think that was important, just to stabilize the spot and just go be a team like every other good team. Just find a 4th or 5th round guard and just plug him in. Like, you have your 2 first-round talents and your 2nd-round talent on the O-line. You don't need another one. No one does that. Nobody does that. The bookend tackles, that's perfectly fine. You want to keep those guys around forever, but to do it again, I think, is asinine. So, again, they could still do it, which I think would be awful move. But so getting a guy that we know can play and be around league average was big.
I think that pick, that signing of Parham kind of tells you that they're not going to. Like, I think if they went into the draft with not making any move at that position, then I would say, like, they might. But at this point, I think that they're not going to. I think they are going BPA. And I think that's the mindset that they need to have. And you know what I mean? And I think it's kind of the luxury that they have right now for that. It's maybe the most successful thing that you need to do is just pick BPA, because at that point, then you can't criticize the pick. And if it doesn't work out, then it's like, then the guy just wasn't meant for it at the end of the day.
I agree. I think that could kind of lead us into our mock if we want.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Before we get into the mock, I know we've said his name a couple times, and I just wanted to open the floor up to talking about him. Can we just talk about how embarrassing this offseason has been for the Titans with Saleh and Dable?
Oh my God.
It makes me nauseous.
Everybody over. They're bringing everybody from the old Jets over. You know, too, with that one, like, I was looking at the opponents the other day. Like, I just see week 1, we're on the road in Tennessee playing that game. I mean, how else is it going to go, right? And I know we're talking about us being, 4 to 9 wins. I feel like that's one of the ones that's like almost a must win, right? Like, them and the Cardinals, like, you have to beat those 2 teams, I think.
I want to beat the ever living shit out of Rob Saleh. I wish absolutely nothing for the worst for that team, because they're running the solid daycare all over again. It's so embarrassing to watch. I would be disgusted if I was a Titans fan.
I think they're going to be better than we think.
Hysterical. Like, Tony Adams going back is just.
I think they might come in second in the division easily.
That division's terrible.
Exactly.
You know,
I think they could sneak into the playoffs.
Pip would love if they blew us out week 1.
I would love it. And then if we lost to the Cardinals too, 2 must-lose games right there.
You know what it is, though? It's like,
I think I hate you more than Rob Saleh.
Good.
If they play the Titans week 1, they're getting fucking blown out by the Titans. Like it is just
Hopefully.
100%.
it is happening. Like there's no way it's not happening, and it's gonna
Wait,
be
What did you say? I'm sorry.
if they play the Titans week 1, they're getting blown the fuck out. Like it's,
Oh yeah.
like there's no way. Like the Titans are gonna look like Super Bowl contenders against us, and they'll probably spend like the first 4 games or something like that. They'll start off like 4-0, and then after that, like they'll bottom out, just like Sam did when he was in Carolina, and he beat the pulp out of us, and then started off great, and everyone's like, look at the Jets, and then obviously now he won Super Bowl, but you all know how that season played out for them. But yeah, I think this is a great time to kind of dive into the draft and talk about what we can be excited for this year. So let's get a little mock-up going right here. Let me cast it, and we'll get started with this. I'm excited for this because I think that for the most part, we're kind of on the same page, but I do think that there's some debates to do with some of the picks. I think at pick number 2, we'll all be kind of on the same page, but we'll do a 2-round mock consensus, and we'll do just for the Jets, and we'll see kind of how the board falls, and then we'll make our picks. Alrighty, kicking things off. The
I
shocker
think I'm
there.
more interested to see how the board falls than anything. Like when you have the computer just pick, because I feel like you kind of have no clue how some of these picks are gonna go.
They're not crazy. The
so
computer.
It'll be interesting.
The computer's probably going to pick what is expected at those picks.
I think they do
majority is
more
expected.
best player available than team needs.
Well, it's probably because it probably rank on the team needs of what they think it is, and whatever the top need is, the top player available at that position, they'll probably take. But I think we're all on the same page here, as we're taking Arbel at 2.
Yeah.
I think it's all
No.
Valeries, that's right.
There's a
Yeah,
case to be made for maybe Sonny Styles, but it would be a fun pick. But I think ultimately Glenn and staff are going to be like, Reese's versatility is way too valuable. Like we could play him anywhere, and we need a guy like that, like a Swiss Army knife. So
I think if Mendoza wasn't the quarterback that was slotted to go 1, like there was no like number 1 guy there, I think Reese is the consensus number 1 pick in the draft. And I think it gives us an absolute luxury to get him at 2. I think, again, to compare it back to the Lions when they took Hutchinson, I think that's kind of like the same thing happened. Everyone was like, they need a quarterback, and what are they going to do? And then they took Hutchinson, and it kind of like set the tone for them. And I think that's kind of like what we have here with Reese, and I think that's kind of like the best pick to go with there. Sonny Styles, like you said, like, as far as a pick as that can be, to me, I think that's just like, if Sonny Styles, you take him at 2 and he's a bust, everyone's going to be like, what the fuck are the Jets doing? And I think it's going to be like, LOL Jets if they do take Sonny Styles.
I wouldn't mind Sonny. I just think him and Arbel are like kind of the same, where you could play him off the edge or you could drop them back. I think just Sonny's better drop back and Arbel's better off the edge. I think that's the difference between the 2 of them, but they're both athletic freaks, and I'd rather have the guy better off the edge. But I wouldn't be mad at Sonny.
I would. I fell in love with Reese, that's why. And I've been on Reese, I think, since like Mendoza wasn't an option. Like I didn't even want to say
disgusting.
more. Yeah. Alrighty.
Like
Let's go from here.
that's the way to your defensive superstar right there.
The Giants taking Jeremiah Love, this is kind of
Yeah, like, I don't think Jordan Tyson goes that high.
I hope not. Thieneman went 12.
Yeah, and Sonny Styles being there at 16.
Oh my God, Jesus!
This is a hilarious trade, because why on earth would the Jets? If the Jets did this, I think I'd actually kill myself at that point.
You had to recoup that late 2027 second. Sign me up.
So stupid. Oh, we have 2 trade offers though, so
what's the next one?
Lions.
you get a pick and you move back a spot. Why not? And the board is pretty favorable right now.
I think Pip, what are your thoughts?
I mean,
I take
I'd rather
that
just do the
because
mock
you're
doing
moving
no
back a spot.
trades. I just think that I don't like going based off the computer. I don't think this is ever reasonable.
Let your hair down.
So
Pip.
what would you do here, Pip?
If we're gonna sit and pick, I think pretending Sonny Styles isn't on the board is the way to go, because
Yeah, I think we just lock
not
in.
gonna be there.
I think we just lock in Lemon here.
So
my
I
opinion.
want to have this conversation
Mhm.
because I said it to you guys in the group chat. I'm kind of the way free agency is going, or went, I should say. I really think that if one of those three guys is here at 16 or even hovering around from 14, 15, I think you got to go get one of them.
Talk about the receivers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the most important right now.
You can't leave.
And
You can't leave the first 2 rounds or even the first round without a receiver, especially after. I mean, who knows? Maybe we trade for Brian Thomas, but I'd rather just draft and take a Makai Lemon if he's there.
Okay, so let's say
I think it's more likely that like Tyson's here, which I think he's the best in the class. Like, and on medicals, if he falls again anywhere, even within that 13 to 15 range, I'd even go make a move to get him. But like I was gonna say, I do want to have like a couple conversations, so it's not just we're taking picks. What do we think if like if one of these receivers isn't there and there's a Sadiq sitting there, like what are we looking at?
I think Omar Cooper's much higher than any ranking has right now, and I would be debating taking an Omar Cooper at 16.
Yep, me too. Well, you don't want Denzel Boston?
Yeah, that little.
I don't know if I touched Denzel Boston in the 3rd round.
No, he's horrible. He's not good at football.
Just his name alone just gives me PTSD flashbacks to Denzel Mims. I don't know if I could do another Denzel.
I think the debate here is going to be taking one of the safeties or taking a receiver. I think that's the true debate of all of it. And if all 3 receivers are gone, do you take a guy like I'm going to butcher it, but Thielman, or do you take a guy like Omar?
Yeah, I would take Thielman
that's my debate.
I would take Thielman over Omar. My thing here is, what if one of these corners fell? Like, what if like a Jermod McCoy was here? Like, I feel like everyone said that they're a little higher on this corner class than anyone thinks, which is interesting.
I'm probably staying away from McCoy
because he's hurt.
I think I'd rather Terrell,
but I
also don't want a corner.
Yeah, I wouldn't go there either. I mean, if the board was like this without Sonny, I'm not even thinking of running in Lemon instantly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm just trying to have the the conversations of what should be around here.
Realistically,
Sonny's there, you're taking him.
He's not going to be there though. Like
he won't be there, but
he's going to be a top 5 to 7
He might not
pick.
even make it to 5.
Yeah, I don't see him getting out of the top 5.
I think the debate really
I think you have to leave this draft with a impact offensive player. I think it is possible that Lemon's there. I think I would take him there, obviously. To me, that's the pick. I think it's a safe pick. It's a great pick. It's something that you can be excited about. And yeah, to me, that's the one that I'm locking at this point.
So I was also going to say something else that I was thinking about. I feel like that the coaching staff in the front, I feel like they're more confident. I mean, obviously they're more confident than we are in them. I feel like they think that this is off nothing but my thoughts, so you can tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like getting Geno, having him for 2 years, and you could tell that they're kind of trying to do this the right way, like build out a team. I don't think, I used to think so. I don't think they're going to reach on Simpson anymore. That's just how my gut. I don't know. I think the way that they're going about this, I don't think that it's just going to be tie at 16 unless the board breaks terribly.
I agree. And there's no need to reach at 16 for it now because you have Geno. I think if you didn't trade for Geno, then you kind of have to reach at that point, or you have to trade it back into the first round. And I know we can get excited like him at 16, but I think there's too many good players on the board that if you take Ty at 16, you're not doing yourself anything good there. Like you're kind of just wasting a pick, in my opinion.
I agree.
But if the board doesn't look at it the way it does, he could be the best player there that you want to take.
Yeah, like if the receivers aren't there for some reason, then maybe you do take him, and then you get a receiver in the 2nd round, like a Jeremy Bernard or someone. But I think Muji's been way too calculated, and he knows how many holes are on this team. He's not going to waste it on Ty at 16.
My problem is
Completely
taking
agree.
a receiver in the second round, like a Jeremy Bernard or a Casey Concepcion, is just asking for a bust. I think it's asking for a gadget guy that you hope could have like 500 yards a year and praying that it works out like that. I think you go
Completely
and get a
agree.
guy like someone in this top 4 wide receiver group, and I'm going to put Omar Cooper up there now just because he's been insane and everyone's just starting to realize it now. I don't want a Kenyon Sadiq. I don't want to just double down on the tight end room again. I'd rather take the guy that could help Garrett. And the only thing that I would possibly do is if like a Delane was there at 16, I'd run and go make that pick. And that's the only corner that I'm actually going to go and do it with. Forcing a receiver later just puts yourself in the same hole that we have too many gadget or just mid-wide receivers in this room. Like, we don't need like another A.D. Mitchell. He's good as a wide receiver 3. I don't need Jeremy Bernard and A.D. Mitchell next to each other.
I couldn't agree more. I think it's very important to get in, even if it's for Cooper. Let's say those 3 guys are off the board, and even if you want to trade down a little bit, if someone's calling you, but like I would still even think about Omar here. I think you just need to come out with. I think you just need to come out with one of those guys in this range, whether you're moving up or back. I think your goal has to be, if the board's falling the right way, I think you got to make that your number 1 priority. But so, yeah, I guess here I know. Like I said, I like just talking about these things because the draft isn't going to go exactly how this is. But here it's lemon, no brainer. I think we all agree.
We've all seen like wide receiver runs in years past, just like one gets taken and then it just starts going. Like they need, that's where they need to actually play it correct. And Muji needs to show that he actually knows how to draft, is how to read the situation, not just the board, but like who's like, when that starts going, he needs to get that phone going.
Now, with that being said, I apologize after just so that it keep on going.
Mm-hmm.
But with 2 picks both in the second round, 33 and 44, while it's out on the board, would you guys consider trading back into the first round with one of those picks?
Yes.
I was gonna say is that so before we got Geno, I was a big fan of the tie at 16, but then after Geno, I'm not really, like you guys were just talking about, not a big fan of that at all. But I am a big fan of trading back into the first round and maybe go get him if you see an opportunity that fits. If you think somebody else is going to grab him and he's your guy and you want him, I think you got to take the shot.
Yeah, like the Bears are sitting there at 25. I don't know, scroll down. Like, do the Niners want to make a trade? The Texans. I mean, there's teams there that maybe will want to trade out of that, especially when you're getting 33. It's not like you're getting 42 and the last pick in the second round. Like, you're getting 33 and 44. So I think teams will be okay with that.
I don't think you need to trade both, though.
No, not both. Like, you trade one of those and see.
Yeah, like one and another one down the line or something like that.
For me, this draft is so deep on 2 positions that we actually just been desperate for last year in safety and linebacker. And yes, we obviously got some help there with some veteran help, but we still need more help there. I feel like at, 33 and 44? I feel like those 2 picks need to be towards those positions. I know we want to go and help the offense in this draft, but in the second round at 33, if a guy like Hill's there, or if a guy like CJ Allen falls, but probably won't, and then at 44 you have a safety like Halsey there, like I would be sick if we traded either of those picks to go get Ty when those 2 positions we desperately need.
So let's play it out. Let's see how the board falls to our next pick, then go from it that way. I mean, this isn't going to be our last mock. You know what I mean? And like, obviously, nothing is getting locked in place here. I think let's play it out. Let's see kind of, with this first mock where things kind of fall, so that next time when we do another mock on our next podcast, we think about the trades that we can do to be creative based on what we've seen before. Obviously, it can be different every single time, but just so that we have kind of like a general idea, let's see what we can get out of our top 4 picks. So let's resume this to see where it goes. Yeah, there's just no way Sonny Styles is falling. just not happening. Browns took Ty.
Ty to the Browns. God damn it.
Denzel, big bust.
That's kind of where I see Omar Cooper going. I don't know why. I just see like the Ricky Pearsall, like the right in that range. I don't know why.
I would love if the Pats traded up to take Denzel Boston, and he's just an absolute bust.
I think they would be looking at like Colton Hood.
Yeah, I think so too.
But are we doing our own thing or what we think they would do?
Matt and Pip are driving the bus here, I think, on a mock.
I think if Colton's there, you just take him. I don't think he's gonna be there. I'm not like this insane fan of him, like just because I don't care about the cornerback class. But if he's there at 33, I think they just take it.
Me too. Wait, can you go to safety and linebacker? I don't know who's there.
I think.
I'm sorry. I'm like so all in on Jacob Rodriguez too.
I was literally just about to say that. I think he's gonna move so much further up than we think. I think he's so smart and so versatile.
And that's what the combine's for, guys like that. Like, he was all SEC. He was probably second leading tackler behind Styles.
He's also just a guy where like that that defense that they put out there, like as good as like Bailey was, like he's the guy that's like
him.
He's just showing everything. Like he's just the one that calls everything. Like he was the general there.
Like that guy learning with DeMario, I think it's just such a perfect.
So good.
He used to play quarterback too, right?
Yeah, I think
he
so.
Used to play quarterback. Just maybe if Geno goes down, then there you go.
Tank Commander Rodriguez.
Kai Simpson, who? Jacob Rodriguez, the guy.
Just in case, yeah.
We have our Travis Hunter. He plays linebacker and quarterback.
Yeah, our quarterback throws a touchdown and then stays on the field for specials and to play middle linebacker.
Just doesn't go off the field at all.
Jacob Rodriguez is fucking college game day jamming that down your throat that this kid used to play quarterback.
It shows. So, what do you guys think? Like, would you guys have a position that you would look at here?
I agree. Like you're going cornerback or safety.
I would look at linebacker and safety, but I like we said, if a guy like Colton Hood actually falls to this, I think they just take it, or they entertain a trade, and they just trade back.
I personally, I would take Colton Hood here. I think again, it's just going best player available, and from there you have still another pick here. You still can make another trade. I think it's deep enough that I think I would just go Colton Hood here.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yep,
it's very realistic too.
It is. I think that day that night in between the first and the second round, the amount of calls that they're going to be getting. Like, there's always a guy that falls like that.
We could do that one. And then are those guys there still?
On the right,
Halsey or Rodriguez? I know I see Halsey's
there. They're both there.
What would you guys do between the two? Because I feel like that's who I would be looking at.
I personally am going to go Rodriguez. I think it's just linebacker to me is just like they've been hurting there for a while, and I just say like obviously safety too, but I just think that if you can be really elite in the middle of that, I think that's just going to be an absolute game changer. But I know Pip is dying for a safety,
and he could learn from DeMario, and I don't know, I just really like that, and then he could take over and be the next captain of the defense and.
Right.
And be our quarterback on the defensive side.
And then you have Halsey, who big body, who hits, and he also forces turnover. He does both things that we love. But I don't know, I just think like you said, like the marriage with DeMario and Rodriguez, and he can, hopefully step up one day, and it's just like that's like the heartbeat of our defense one day. I think it'd be sick, but
when I see Halsey,
I want Pip to make this one.
When I see Halsey, I just see a guy that is like how Malachi Moore almost wants to play, but can't. Like Malachi Moore tries so hard to be like that big hitter, but like he's not. Like he
Why do you gotta
missed.
take shots at Malachi all the time, man?
He's a 7th round pick that we owe nothing to, and he was solid, but he wasn't good. Like he showed flashes, but like he's still just a 7th round pick. I was excited to pick when we made it. We saw him play. We saw what he was. I think if you get a guy like Halsey in there and you get Halsey and Minka next to each other, like our biggest problem last year was obviously creating turnovers. I think you get a guy like that in there. I think it's gonna be really fun.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, I think I'm changing my stance here. I kind of with Pip on it too. Is like also if you just look at the board and look at the drafts that the picks that you've made so far, you're kind of drafting in different position groups. And I think if like you said, we have reason as versatility, you kind of don't need to go with Rodriguez, and safety is another one of those positions that is obviously a desperate need. Yeah, I think I might actually switch my stance here and
Safety
go
has
AJ
safety has been a literal barren wasteland, and you can go from whatever I don't even know what you can call the safety rooms. Even when the defense was good, besides our Warden Sadio or Marcus Joyner for those few games, going to Minka and AJ Halsey, sick.
Like we have Demario for 2 years. He's gonna make Sherwood better.
Hopefully.
He would know. This is exactly what
Can't be
Sherwood.
worse.
This is exactly what Sherwood needed.
All right,
That's
let's
it.
turn in the card, eh?
That's for AJ Halsey.
So you know how everyone's saying like this is all setting up for a offensive heavy draft, like, but I don't even see where besides taking the guy that we said we need a first round pass catcher. Other than that, like, how are you passing up the value of the defensive talent you can get at 33 and 44? I don't think it's realistic at all.
So I'm pausing the draft here just because of how the board has fallen, and Jacob Rodriguez still there. No reason we're working to make any trades, but I wanted to see
With the third we don't have.
If we think that one, this is even realistic that it could happen, and two, what would we do if we see that the board is falling at this rate here? Because he's not going to be there much longer.
I mean, you try and trade up, but like we don't have a third because of Hassan Reddick.
Go.
It's probably not realistic, and we probably lose him.
Yeah,
I think just to go off what Matt was saying, like people that think that it's like such like we're gonna go offensive heavy just because of free agency, like I feel like those people haven't looked at a draft or just like look at a mock draft and just scroll to the Jets and that's all they see. Like this isn't a good offensive class. It's actually horrific. You got realistically one quarterback and 4 receivers and a tight end. The offensive linemen aren't that good either. Like this is just a defensive heavy class and that's okay. You can't force it. I would hate if they forced offense.
Dude, and that's the point. Like we're really gonna sit here and take Emmanuel Pregnon over AJ Halsey or Colton Hood? What are we talking about? I think it's so stupid. Like, just you have Parham for what, 2 years?
Yeah.
Let him play this year. Draft the when you get to day 3, because we don't have a third unless we trade back. When you get to day 3 and you start off day 3, then go draft your guard that you like. There's so much good defensive talent that's going to stand out and make this team so much better. Like, I don't know where, again, besides or in that 16 area, where in your right mind you're taking offense over defense here.
I agree.
Unless they do something stupid and, like Pip, like you were saying, if they just sit on their hands and wait and they're like, oh, let's take a pass catcher at 33 or 44, I'd be furious. I'd be actually pissed.
Yeah, I mean,
I am nervous that they're going to do that.
I don't want that at all.
I can see them falling in love with Zachariah Branch. I don't know why.
Rizzy said it. I could so see Jeremy Bernard, and I do not.
Mm-hmm. Like, he's a solid player. Like, nothing against him, but like he's like it's the equivalent of like getting like a Van Jefferson for me.
It's just like another recycled second round pick. Like, that guy's not getting a second contract. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't move any needle anywhere. And I think one of those guys, if you can, because the board's not going to fall exactly how we want probably. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's, again, just going with the best players available at every position group that we need and going from there. But we've seen it before. I don't know.
Like, come on, dude. If that happens, I'll be booking like flights to the Super Bowl. Like, that's what I'll say after that. I'll be
Yeah,
me and
like, if we
Rizzy. Me
walk
and Rizzy
away-
will be looking at hotels wherever the Super Bowl is next year.
If we walk away with those 4 guys after the first 2 rounds, like instant win.
And
Instant win.
Mm-hmm.
those are all impact guys right now too. Those are
And
all
it's
guys
all
that are gonna
realistic.
play. Yeah, and it's realistic.
Well, at least
I don't know how realistic-
Nashville for week 1.
Right, 100%. In my AJ Halsey jersey.
I hope Muji's watching this.
The only thing I think they do different is that I think they fully entertain getting a 3rd rounder back and trading out a 33 there.
No, I don't think they're going to.
I feel like 33 is so valuable. Like, I'd move out of 45. Like, 33, you get a
33
whole
is like
day
another
to
first round pick.
Right, you get
Exactly.
you get a whole day to sit on it. You know, you can entertain offers if someone overpays and you take it, but you could just sit on. The hell?
So, like,
The only thing I can
let's
see
say
them doing
Colton
33
Hood
is
and
to get them
Rodriguez were
back into
there.
the first.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Let's say Colton Hood and Rodriguez are there. You can move back 7 picks and recoup, let's say, a late 3rd. Like,
Oh, then I'd do it because there's enough players to
Mhm.
to sit and pick. So
Again, though, like, I don't think that they necessarily have to, though. Like,
no,
no, they
but
don't have
there's
to.
really no point to. Like, if you want, like, again, like, all these picks are great, but you have to make sure that it's more important that you hit players than with the
Yeah,
amount
of
of picks that you
course.
have. So I'd much rather them take the 4 picks that they have in these first 2 rounds. Like, that's like the whole point of why you make those trades is so that you can be getting these premium players at premium positions rather than waiting to see how the board falls to you. And I think you're just playing by fire at that point. And the only thing I could see them doing is using 33 to trade back into the first round, and it could be for one of those 2 guys that you've taken in the second round. You might just want to jump ahead and get them just so you know that you have them. But we'll see. I mean, yeah, like you guys said, I would be fucking ecstatic if this is the way that it worked out.
I feel like
2,
it's
I think
something
2 is a lock. I think everything after that is who knows what's going to happen.
I just think when you look at it, putting in not even just Lemon, putting in one of those pass catchers that we've talked about. Think about how much better just that one guy makes the whole. It just makes it a complete offense. It's not just like doubling Garrett and hope AD Mitchell doesn't burn you over the top. It's like legitimate. It's a legitimate offense. You know, who knows if coaching can get it there, but on paper, it's a real offense.
Right.
So
I also
I do
feel
agree. Sorry, I do
No,
agree with
sorry.
what Pip said earlier that like it's going to be interesting to see when the wide receiver rush happens, like what happens with Muji and what he decides to do. Because I do think that'll be pretty interesting on draft day. See that all play out.
I'm really of the belief that I would go. I wouldn't even just sit there. If you feel like that run's gonna come, I would go make it happen. Like,
He's
you
not
gotta,
shy to
you
make
gotta
moves.
get one.
He's not shy to make trades. He's got some balls on him, so I definitely could see him moving up if there's a receiver there that they're like, we need this guy.
I also think, regardless of how you feel about Breeze, I feel like 4th rounder, I feel like they're going to be looking at running back. I think they want a number 2 guy in there that could actually split time with Breeze. I don't think they want to just run him into the ground.
I think that's the smart thing to do also, though. Like, you can't just go, it's like, depth is everything at every position. And running back, they have, outside of Breeze, like, there's nobody there that is like, okay, I'm excited for this guy to get the ball. Like, there's nobody else back there other than Breeze. And, it's a lot, too. Like, for these running backs, like, they can't just be run into the ground. Like, it doesn't work out that way. And there's no veteran guy out there right now that they're going to go sign. And to be honest, I'd rather them just pick somebody else that can be, because you also, like, you just have a lot of insurance because you don't know where Breeze is going to be next year. So, like, you might as well pick up somebody that could be an impact. I mean, like, you also saw, like, a few years ago, they took Michael Carter. Michael Carter was great, and then they still doubled down. They took Brees the next year, and the way it all obviously ended with Michael Carter, like, he was pretty good his first couple of years with us, and then obviously he went to shit. But I think I would take a similar approach to that. Like, I think that worked out pretty great, in my opinion, until it didn't, of course. But
I think the problem with Michael Carter always was that even in college, he was a number 2 guy, and they treated him like a 1 that 1 year. I feel like if we get a guy
but
that
he
we
played
know
well.
could be a
He
2.
did play well.
Yeah. I feel like we get like an Emmett Johnson or a Jonah Coleman, like the 4th round. I feel like those are 2 guys that could potentially have a full load. Like, I don't think they're going to go after a guy like Price early, just because Price is going to be so overvalued right now. He's seen as the 2nd best runner in the class, but like, he's always been a second fiddle to Jeremiah Love. I feel like they're going to get a guy that can take on the full workload, and just in case this whole Brees thing doesn't work out.
Yeah, you have to give yourself the insurance there. Absolutely.
And Devin, I was going to make a point off what you said when you said depth is everything. That's what's annoying me with this is going to be an offense-heavy draft. Like, when have we had depth at any position, let alone anywhere? Like, we're talking about, they signed a couple of safeties. I know we were getting angry at like the Cisco thing, but then you step back. He's on a 1-year, $2 million contract.
There's no money there.
Dane Belton is going to play specials most of the time. And you need depth. Like, Malachi Moore was the number 1 safety last year. And, we can make some moves and he can be the 4. That's great, though. He's a 5th round pick. Like, if he overperforms and becomes a starter, he becomes a starter. But depth is everything. You need I don't know. That always annoyed me. You need players, dude. You need to backfill. There's going to be guys that get hurt. It can't be how it's been. And
you don't want a player to go down and then you're sitting there saying, fuck. Like you want to.
We played. Like, do people forget we watched UFL football after Thanksgiving? UFL.
Not even. That's only fucking week 3. It was UFL football.
Who was anyone that was playing the last month of the year on defense? We followed this team as closely as anybody, and Samuel Womack was playing 90%. What is going on?
It's like an auto-generated name that you get mad at when you create a player.
Poor guy. I'm sorry. I just used his name as slander, but
no, it's
just
okay.
the point.
Yeah, we had people in positions that didn't even. It wasn't even their fault that they were playing bad. They just should have never even been there to begin with.
It.
Like, it is what it
they
is.
just saw the guy that was cutting the grass at one Jets drive and said, "Hey."
Yeah, we're like, we need a safety
spot.
big time.
Just to go back to the corner talk, do we trust a guy like AZ Thomas to step in there week 1 and just be the number 2?
No,
I want to, but I don't think so.
I don't, though.
Yeah,
I don't
think so.
And my prediction on AZ Thomas is going to be, and it's like an unfortunate thing to say, but I think he's going to be an injury riddle guy. I think he's going to be. I just don't think he's got the durability to last, and I think he'll make plays. I think he'll step up, but yeah, I definitely think there's a need there. I think it's definitely better because if you have a better pass rush, better linebacker room, I think that just helps the secondary that much more. I've been saying that for years. Like, corner, it's good to have the number 1 corner, but it does not matter who you have back there if you don't get to the quarterback at the end of the day, and you don't have support back there. But yeah, I'm honestly, what I was going to pivot to was kicker, because I think them letting Nick Folk walk out the door could be the absolute worst move that they do. Like, doesn't matter what else they do, but letting him walk out that door. They did this. This is the 2nd time they've done this. They did it with Jason Myers. Granted, he was younger. Went to Seattle. Now look at him. And now Nick Folk, statistically, is one of the top kickers in the NFL. And you just let him walk out the door again. And you're going to be sitting here, and you're going to be saying, like, why can't you make an extra point? And it's like Cade York, like, nothing to be excited about. You know what I mean? And like, it's just so many games can be lost or won solely off of kicking. And I know Nick doesn't have like a big leg, but he's accurate, and like that's really important. And I think it's a huge mistake.
I don't think it's as big as you think.
I think last year, like, they didn't have kicker figured out until like the middle of August. So I think Cade, he's got a huge leg, and I think they believe or they know that a lot of his issues were between the ears and mental, and maybe they believe that Banjo and the rest of his staff can get him in line and turn him into a great kicker. But I do agree it is risky, like, especially when you know what Folk is. Like, you don't know what Cade York's going to be. He could turn into Young Hoku missing layup kicks for the Falcons, losing them games. So,
or the Giants where he just misses the ball and just falls on his face, bro.
Yeah,
like
he chunked a 60-degree.
Yeah, like it's like
like Charlie Brown cartoon character.
Seriously, it's like the ball got pulled out away from him. Like that's literally what it was. And it's like it's not even like Nick Folk like went for like a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like it's there's no money really. Like, it wasn't like a money decision. It was just like there's like I would have done everything they possibly could to just bring back special teams the way they could have. Like it was by far the best unit. And listen, it's one position group, and they can if they figure it out, it's great. But we've seen it before. So many games are won or lost by just simply missing sure kicks. But we'll see. I mean, they can also they can, like you said, middle of August last time. You never know what can happen. So like they can definitely sign someone else. But I don't want what the Giants had last year. And if like we're in games and we're losing games because of our kicker, you know, it's gonna be fucking
2024 all over again.
A move like that gets you fired too, because it's like you had this guy in the building and now you let him out of here, and we're losing games because of it. So
I think it was a Glenn decision. I feel like there was a lot of times where we were around like 55 to 60-yard field goals, and Glenn just sat there not knowing what to do, just because he doesn't have the leg.
He didn't trust the leg, yeah.
Yeah, and like I wouldn't trust it either. Like he doesn't have that power, but at the same time, Glenn needs to know that and be able to know what he's doing in that situation at all times, but he didn't. But I think it was fully his decision to get a different kicker in there.
Dude, I just want some continuity there. Like, Cade York's young. If he can somewhat figure it out, I just want to. Dude, we never have continuity at kicker, and it's important. Like, as you know, we're talking about kicker, which people are probably like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But
it's an important position, though.
Dude, it's important. It's important.
7th round.
If you win or lose games, we saw it in 2024. We could have, there was like a 3-win margin because of Zerline that year. So
yeah, but that's Myers out of the building. You guys don't.
No, they shouldn't have.
Never let him out of the building.
No, never.
No, they definitely shouldn't have. But Greg too, though. Like Greg was great, and then they kept him, and then he was awful.
I love one of my favorite things I've heard was Connor Rogers. It was before 2024 when they were bringing Zerline back, and he said, "I don't like this because kickers are like relief pitchers."
Mm-hmm.
Where they're, 1 year, they're like, it was like, I think he comped it to Edwin Diaz, like when Diaz had that shit year after he was great.
Which
I mean, it is true. Like, they kind of go through ups and downs, which I love that quote. I thought that was great.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting. I'm sure we'll be sitting here in July and there'll be 15 kickers lying outside one just drive because Cade York is just fucking not hitting anything.
He's sending nukes like my driver, like 250 yards, 3 fairways over.
Yeah, like he's launching them in, and even Iran is saying, "What the fuck like is going on here at One Jets Drive?" And we're going to be a threat for this.
Keep that in. That's fun. Let's have some fun.
That one's for the algorithm.
Yeah, let's get that in the algorithm there for sure.
That's a circus. That's a search period there. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. That's the only thing I've been sitting here saying, like, what the fuck. But other than that, I think right now I don't want to say there's a lot of excitement because it definitely has a lot to be like excited about, but it's definitely feeling a lot better. I think that over the next couple of weeks, we're going to learn a lot, and we're going to see kind of how the market shifts, and we're going to see how the draft board is changing. a lot. You're going to see, like, I think 2 is locked in for sure, but I'm very curious to see what happens there. 1 trade and everything changes, and who knows what happens from there. But wrapping up here, was there any other last minute thoughts that anybody else had? Anything else anyone want to touch on?
No, we're just gonna go 9-8 and sneak in.
Oh my god.
Geno.
We're gonna
Gino's
we're
gonna
gonna
carry
we're
us,
gonna hear
baby.
that Rizzy outro till the day we die.
That's it. That's what we're going to be manifesting now.
Table.
I can't wait for week 3 and we just hear why is it always us?
Either 3-0.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll see. Well, we shall see. Anyways, guys, always a pleasure. I hope you guys have a great Sunday. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, and tune in
Follow.
next week. Follow, very important, at Optimistic Depression. And next week, we'll mock it again. We'll see if there's anything shifts. Let's get a little bit more creative, some trades, and we'll see from there. But other than that,
Weekly
sign off.
mocks.
Weekly mocks
I
on the
like
pod with Chris next week.
Yeah, Chris is coming on to make the Giants picks.
Anyways, guys, enjoy the Sunday, and we will talk soon. Peace.
Later, boys. Love you.
See ya.
Fellas, see ya.